Hello everyone, I am Laethas and welcome back again for another video, and today I have my manga haul for the month of April 2019, and I don't just have manga this time. We're going to start off with some anime because I did pick up two films, and those are A Silent Voice and Perfect Blue. I don't think I have to introduce these very much. They're very well known, very popular films, and I enjoy each of them a spectacular amount, and I highly recommend taking a watch of these films because they are honestly some of my favorites, and I really can't say more about them. A Silent Voice obviously is based off of the manga by Yoshitoki Oima, and it is an excellent story. I think the manga does certain things better, and I think the film does certain things better, so it's really hard for me to say which one is better. And I'd have to really think about it a lot for me to really give an honest answer. But they're both great. Perfect Blue is an excellent, excellent thriller. Cannot recommend it enough. These two films are excellent, and I am very happy to have them in my collection. Next up, I have Volume 2 of 3 for Yuri Bear's Storm. The third volume comes out very soon, and that will be the final volume, of course, and once that is out, I will be reading this series. It is quite short, at only 3 volumes long. I do not know very much about this series. I have heard it's much different than the anime for this series, so maybe after I've read the manga, I will go back and watch that. But like I said, I have not read the first volume of this. I have not started this series yet, and I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know it's short, and it has girls' love thrown in there. So I'm going to wait for that third volume to come out, and then I will binge read the rest of that. But Yuri Bear Storm, Volume 2. And next up, I have Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl, Volume 8. And I recently found out that the 10th volume is going to be the final volume for this series, so it is almost complete, and I'm going to be very happy once that is over. As a result of the 10th volume being the last volume, I'm probably just going to wait off before reading this 8th volume, just read 8, 9, and 10 back to back. But yeah, this is a Shoujo Ai Yuri series girls love, though instead of focusing on one couple in particular, it likes to jump around to showcase a bunch of different couples. And while I personally prefer to just focus on one couple in particular, depending on who you are, that is definitely going to vary. But I still enjoy this series nonetheless, and I cannot wait to see how it concludes. But this is Volume 8 of 10 for Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl. Next up, I have My Boy, Volume 3. And I've only read the first 2 volumes. I've not read this volume yet. I think I have decided that I'm just going to wait to build up a backlog for this series, since I did enjoy volumes 1 and 2, and I really like seeing the relationship between our two characters sort of build. It's, I think, going in more of a maternal direction, which, you know, I guess we will see later on down the line, but there are, I believe, 6 volumes out in Japan as of right now, and I just kind of want to see where this series goes. I do know there is a time skip in this volume. I have been told that, so that's going to be interesting. In my personal experience, time skips either work really, really well, or they don't, and they end up really, really poorly. It just kind of depends on the skill of the writer, so we will see how that works in My Boy Volume 3, but I am very interested to see where this series proceeds in the future. Next up, I have the 4th and final volume for The Delinquent Housewife. I loved this series from Volume 1, and I can say that it is excellent throughout. I wish it would have been a little bit longer. I think maybe going up to 6, maybe 8 volumes. I would have preferred that, but its length is definitely pretty decent at 4 volumes long. It's not that big of a commitment to get into, and it isn't like it ran out of space to tell the story it needed to. It did successfully tell its story, I feel, with a solid conclusion that I did enjoy. Though I would have liked to have spent a little bit more time with these characters, but this is one of the manga from my Manga from 2018. You should definitely check out, or new releases from that year. And that conclusion still stands. This is an excellent, very short series that if you haven't taken a look at it yet, I highly recommend giving this one a read. I don't think you will be disappointed unless you don't want more of a slice of life rom-com series, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed this, and I highly recommend you check The Delinquent Housewife out. Next up, I have Inside Mari, Volume 3 by Shuzo Oshimi. If you have been on this channel for any amount of time, you will know that I am a massive Shuzo Oshimi fan, and Inside Mari is no exception. I have read this series once before, and it's excellent. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm very happy that Denpa Books, our brand new manga publisher for English releases, decided to pick it up. If you've read any of Shuzo Oshimi's other works, you're going to have a general idea of what this story is kind of about. It's definitely more on that, you know, psychological angle. And if you enjoyed any of his other stuff, you definitely want to be checking this one out. And even if you haven't checked any of his other stuff out, this is still an excellent read, and, you know, one you can definitely get into pretty easily. It's not very complicated to sort of just get immersed into this story that he is telling, but Inside Mari is an absolutely excellent series, and I cannot wait for all of it to be out in English, and I will be reading it once more. But yes, definitely check out Inside Mari. Next up, I have Yuri Is My Job, Volume 2. I have read the first volume. I enjoyed it a lot, and I cannot wait to see where the series goes, but I want to backlog this series because the volumes are kind of on the shorter side, and this seems like a series I'm going to want to continue to read. I really don't want to get stuck at cliffhangers on this one. But yeah, if you're looking for another Yuri, definitely recommend checking this one out. It has kind of a little bit of a different spin than I think a lot of other ones, so if you're looking for a change of pace, then this is definitely one I think you should look into, because I think it will provide that for you. But Yuri Is My Job. It's a girl's love story. Don't know how else to frame it. I've only read the first volume, but I'm going to continue picking up these volumes as I enjoyed that first one, and I always loved me some Yuri. Speaking of Yuri, I have Transparent Light Blue, the single-volume Yuri series that was recently put out by 7 Seas, and this one is definitely less innocent. As a matter of fact, this isn't all that innocent of a series, but it is a Yuri series, and if you're a fan of Yuri, I definitely recommend checking this one out. It has more of a, it's more of a melodramatic take, is what I'm going to say, which a lot of Yuri generally is melodramatic, because, you know, high school romance, that kind of thing, that's usually what they end up being. But I think this one does a very nice job for being as short as it is, and it really lets us get into the minds of the characters. I feel a lot better than some of its contemporaries. And yeah, if you're a Yuri fan, this is one I would definitely recommend. And I feel like the characters in this one, they're less sort of cutesy, I want to say, even though that's definitely part of some of their designs, but you can definitely tell that a little bit more care went into these characters and their personalities, especially for a series that is only 1 volume long. So if you are a fan of Yuri, then I would recommend checking out this series. It also contains kind of 2 stories. There's Transparent Light Blue, which is kind of like the first half, and then there's another story towards the back that's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit different. They're both good, and I would recommend checking this book out if you are a fan of Yuri, as I have said. But that is the single volume series, Transparent Light Blue. Next up, I have the long-awaited Space Battleship Yamato, the classic collection. Love this blue, white, and yellow here on the spine. And this has been a long time in the works. I think it was originally supposed to come out like several months ago, but the release date got pushed back. As of now, this was the last classic collection series that 7 Seas had sort of announced. We may be hearing about new ones soon. There is the Toronto Comic Arts Festival coming up. They might announce some new licenses there, but again, that's speculation. I don't really know. I'd love to see more classic collections. As for Space Battleship Yamato, I have not read this one yet. I just finished reading Captain Harlock fairly recently, so I'm trying to read some other series as opposed to more Leiji Matsumoto space stories, so maybe I will read this in a little bit, but as of now, I have not. But as always, Seven Seas has done an excellent job with the quality on this volume, and if you're interested in classic series, you know, we have Devilman, Cutie Honey, Captain Harlock, and now finally Space Battleship, Yamato. So there's a lot to choose from these classic collections. They're always excellent. As for the story on this one, as I've said, I've yet to read it, so I can't really comment on that, but I am happy to have this series nonetheless. Space Battleship Yamato by Leiji Matsumoto. Next up, I have Sailor Moon, the Eternal Edition, Volume 3. I've been reading this one volume to volume because I'm always wondering, am I going to drop it, am I not going to drop it? Thus far, I have been enjoying the series, and I want to see where it is going, but, you know, as always, these volumes are kind of on the more expensive side. I think each one is $28 per volume, which in my opinion is a little bit more pricey than it probably should be, but since I can find these at larger discounts, I'm generally okay with it. But if you're not a huge Sailor Moon fan, then I would probably recommend going with the single volumes, just because these volumes are almost 3 times as expensive as those volumes. So unless you really know, you know, that you really like Sailor Moon, maybe go and do that. As for me, I'm trying to limit the number of series that I'm picking up, so I am okay with spending a little bit more money for these volumes. But as for Sailor Moon itself, I have been enjoying the series, just not enough to decide. I'm just going to binge the rest. I have been going volume to volume, and I'm just kind of interested to see how each volume does. But yeah, that is Sailor Moon Eternal Edition Volume 3. I have read it, I did enjoy it, and I will be picking up Volume 4. And last but not least, we have Berserk, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 1. And as you can see, these are gigantic. These are gigantic 3-in-1 hardcover editions for Berserk, and these are put out by Dark Horse Comics. As for the quality of this volume, they are very, very nice books. It's very hard to say that the build is anything but amazing and spectacular. The pages feel really nice, the artwork is gigantic, and the darks and the brights have a lot of contrast, so it's very easy to tell what is what. One negative with these deluxe editions, though, I guess there's a second one, but, you know, I'll name the first one, which is kind of a nitpick, and it's that they're kind of heavy. Of course they're going to be, these are nicely built books, so it's, you know, can be annoying to read if you don't have, like, a desk or something to set the book down on. As for the deluxe edition, I was kind of disappointed to find out that, you know, the original color pages are not in here. To be fair, they're not in the original single volumes either, but I do feel for something wanting to call itself the deluxe edition, it should include the original color pages that were in the original manga. So that is disappointing. I hope Dark Horse changes that path and decides to put the color pages in the manga from this point going forward, but I can't say that for sure. It does have color pages of the covers for volumes 1, 2, and 3 in the back, but that's not really the same thing. As for a price comparison, this is a $50 book. The single volumes are $15 a piece, so it's about $5 more than buying all 3 singles. So if you're in the market for Berserk, this volume is definitely the way to go. In terms of, say, relative pricing, again, because the absolute price of $50 is quite a lot, but if you've already decided you're going to be picking up Berserk, you might as well spend the $5 extra to get these deluxe editions, just because they are that much nicer. But yeah, I do wish they would have included the color pages, but nonetheless, it's an excellently built book, and I'm happy that Dark Horse is doing this, because this is a series that, you know, definitely deserves more of a, you know, supreme edition, I guess, or more of a grandiose release. As for will I continue to pick up the singles, the answer to that is going to be yes, because I'm a crazy man that's just going to pick up both of these. I do enjoy Berserk a lot. It is one of my more favorite series, and I cannot wait to see the art that Miura has drawn for like some of these later volumes in this massive deluxe edition, because it's definitely going to be a sight to see. And I hope Dark Horse continues to improve, because they used to not be the greatest, but over the past over the past couple of time periods, they've gotten a lot better, and I want to see them improve. And these Berserk Deluxe Editions are definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah, that is the Berserk Deluxe Edition Volume 1. And that will do it for my manga haul for the month of April 2019. Let me know any thoughts about the series I picked up in this haul in particular. Have you read any of these series? Let me know any thoughts you have on them in the comments down below. Are there any series you think I should pick up? I know I have said that I'm trying to limit the number of new series I'm picking up before some of the series I'm already collecting either end or catch up to Japan. So, there are a few series I'm looking at. I'm kind of trying to decide which ones I want to pick up before certain others. So leave your recommendations down in the comments below, as well as any other suggestions you have for my videos. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share. And if you'd like to keep up to date with all of my content, you can hit that subscribe button, ring that notifications bell, or follow me on Twitter. There is a link to that in the description. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, you can always leave those in the comment section down below. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I am Laethas. Goodbye.